This is Breakthrough 180, the show that celebrates the strength to start over. From second careers to bold pivots, we share the moments that change everything and the breakthroughs that reshape lives. Here's your host, Neal DiPentino.
Our guest today on B180 is a former NFL defensive tackle for the Arizona Cardinals and the Oakland Raiders who traded the gridiron for giving back. After a standout career as a first-round draft choice in 2010, Dan founded the Playbook for Success Foundation, dedicated to uplifting underserved youth through academic wellness and mentorship. Inspired by his Memphis roots and legacy for his late father, Dan's mission is as personal as it is powerful. Welcome to the show, my friend Dan Williams. Hey, Dan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. I am super excited to have you on the show. We met like about a month ago at a PAC event here in Nashville at the W, and you were so kind just to give me a few minutes of your time. I know it was like you were trying to chat with a lot of different people, and you took some time with me. I really appreciate that a lot.
Oh man, I have always had a knack, for talking to people, and I mean, and after talking to you, I mean, you seem to be like a pretty good dude. So I was like, hey, I had no problem, spending time there talking, man. It was just, I guess the Southern hospitality, and it was definitely a good event to be around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. I walked in and it didn't take me very long to realize that I was the shortest, fattest, oldest, brokest dude in the room. Man, I got to tell you, it's like, I was talking to some people. I have the habit of like, when I'm talking with somebody and I have a hearing problem, so I'll like, take them by the arm a little bit, maybe pull them in a little bit. I don't know if there's a good habit or not, but I grabbed some of these guys' arms to pull them in, and it was like grabbing a steel girder. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and these are retired guys too. So it's not like they're still in the game and everything, still in great shape and stuff. But PAC's a great program. I love that program.
It definitely was. It was definitely has been an impact, since the short time I've been in the program and stuff, and joining the community. I talked to a lot of guys that I met that weekend, and still in the class now, learning learning a new skill now. So I'm very grateful, for to come in cross pack.
That's awesome. That's awesome. One of the things in my intro that I didn't share that I want to mention is that not only do you play in the NFL and have a foundation, but you were a Tennessee Vol.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, the state the state school, and I always wanted to be Vol. When I finally got the chance, and Coach Farmer, gave me finally offered me. Man, there was no doubt in my mind. I knew where I was going.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Yeah, that was a great team back then when you were there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But hey, you've lived a few lives as an NFL football player, a foundation founder, your dad. Which one of these titles surprises people the most whenever you meet somebody new?
I think the biggest thing is being I guess getting more serious with my foundation. A little bit of background. About 2015, when I first got to Oakland, I started my foundation was called Dan Williams Filling the Gap Foundation, where we pretty much kind of similar to what we do now. But back then, it's like I did fresh food lockers with the Boys and Girls Club in East Oakland, as well as like a little bit of tutoring for reading and math, and it was, we always did a big Christmas giveaway, and as well as just really spend try to spend time with the kids and just kind of see what's on their mind. And then 2016, I was nominated as the Raiders nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Didn't win. Larry Fitzgerald and Eli Manning won that year. But at the same time, just to be, recognized for being, involved in the community, it was a big honor to me.
That's amazing. What an honor that had to have been. I mean, just to be nominated for something like that it's amazing to me. It seems like, a lot of people misunderstand NFL players today, maybe those who've retired and everything, but there's a lot of you guys that have foundations and go out and help charitable organizations. I mean, you all have big hearts, especially you, Dan.
Oh yeah. I think the biggest thing is too, like kind of when we're playing, we probably, we do make time for the kids, and we show up, and kind of, we definitely put money towards programs, and for different interests of the kids and the youth that are in the community.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I guess to answer your first question, I guess when people are surprised that I guess I'm more serious with the philanthropy work is more so because it's like, man, you played, you made all this money, now why this what you sure you this is what you want to do, and it's just more so it's like I feel like the impact we can have on the youth is I feel like it'll be a greater impact because it's like being successful. A lot of the kids I mentor now, the top two things when you always ask them what they want to be, they usually say like athlete or entertainer. And when someone who's been in that field a little bit, and kind of give you the ins and outs of it, and also try to help some of the kids, be realistic about some of the things that they think about doing or want to do. So it's kind of like, if I could come back and be a resource to give them more insight about, one of the fields they want to do. I feel like that's something that's, you can't really put a price on that. It's just more so, if you have a source of information that you can access and, that, I guess that wonder or, the curiosity that you have about, how can I approach, to achieve this goal of mine. Um, this is either kind of you get some information, oh, this could really happen for me, or hey, I might need to, check some other things out that's around me because I don't, just kind of help these kids, put things in more perspective.
I like that. So, going back to your childhood in Memphis, I mean, do you feel like that had a big influence on your philanthropy today? I mean, is that where it kind of spawned?
Yes, my childhood in Memphis. It was like we used to have something called Chevy Metro here. It was like a free basketball camp that I used to go to every summer. Every week. My dad used to. They was at a different high school every week. And the funny thing is, now everybody said basketball, like it was kind of weird, but we used to have a pool. But I just remember the Chef Metro camp because it was like we got a chance to compete. Saw some of the like a lot of the stars at those camps, like Sean Williams, who went to go play in the NBA. Like I used to see him at those camps, dunking on everybody. So it was a cool experience, very unique. But also made me realize, basketball really wasn't my calling. So,
Yeah,
being 6 foot and 280 at the time, it kind of stood out a little bit. But it's just, being around the kids, giving them something to do in the summer, when my parents had to work. And then also it was my dad. My dad was always a person who he was a Kirk Flood fan. We were he always told me how like Kirk Flood started free agency. Like he always told me, you need Kirk Flood Foundation. They do a lot of things, for their community, and my dad didn't he didn't really give to a whole lot of causes. We did church and the Kirk Flood Foundation every year, so it was just like knowing the history. We were. He told me, son, you ever are, become a professional athlete, I feel like you should start a foundation. And, that was one of the biggest things was, hey, you need a foundation, you need to give back, give back, and, teach, the kids some of the history,
yeah,
because, my dad was he was a bit of a nerd, I mean, my things I had to do, was always read the newspaper, tell them what's going on, when I got into football, who plays your position? Tell me some of the greats that played before you, And honestly, that's when I really fell in love with Tennessee because, I started reading about Reggie White
no,
and,
yeah,
and his story. So, that's, that was just something big. My dad had a huge impact on that. And, now, unfortunately he's gone now, but, that's something that's still, that's still strong today and that I believe in.
that's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about your career a little bit in football, if we can, if you
Mhm.
don't mind. So you're growing up in Memphis as a kid, and at one point in time, you had to figure out, okay, I'm pretty good at this game here. So when
Mhm.
did it stop just being for fun, and you thought, hey, me, I might have a chance to actually make something of myself with this as a career?
Well, I would say when I was at the University of Tennessee, a story that I really haven't shared too many times. was after Coach Former got fired in 2008. I had my daughter; she was on the way, and it was like I was kind of stuck, in this little loophole, like what to do. Being taught that I was close to graduating. I had graduated in the spring of '09. And I was like, well, I just need to get a job. I got a kid on the way. Like, what do I do next? Like, we got a new coach. Like, I'm not sure. So, like, 'cause that spring, I was, put down on the depth chart. I was like 13, at the blue, and I was trying to figure out, what was going on. And, once I got my degree, I had went home like that first month in June, like after spring. Like, I didn't go back to the University of Tennessee. I was at home. One thing that I was always be grateful for, was Coach Ogeron. He came, he popped up at my house, like,
Yeah.
like, Dan, what you doing? Like, what you doing, Dan? Like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, Coach, I got a daughter. I need to, I need to provide for her. Like I'm already on 13. Like, this is not going, this is not looking good for me. And it's funny now. But Coach O was just real with me. He's like, Dan, someone at your size is only two things you can do. He said, you play, be a defensive tackle or be a meat man at the market. So I was like, hey, he said, you want to be a meat man? Like, no, I don't want to be a meat man. Like, hey, I just filled out the application at FedEx. I got my degree. But that just kind of stuck with me. And it took me a few days, and I ended up going back. It was a more in-depth conversation as well. He was telling me the pros and cons, and he said you do have a chance to go to the next level, but he was like, you have to figure that out. It's up to Dan. What kind of effort are you going to give us? What kind of player do you want to be? It's a mindset, and I had to get my mind right if I wanted to achieve the goals that I had set in place. So it was really. He was like the things you could do for your daughter if you actually make it to the next level. Like, you could set up, her for a good future. So, thinking about those things, really, changed, my mindset and my perspective at the time. And it's just pretty much, and that's also to where my dad stepped in. He was like, son, you got to realize, you haven't done anything for these new coaches. You have to prove yourself over again.
Mhm.
And that's something I never really thought about. I was like, but dude, I like it, man. I almost made all SEC last year. Like, I was like, I'm the returning, top D tackle on the team, and one in the SEC. At the pro days, scouts telling me, hey, you gonna be the next one come out of Tennessee. Kind of feeling myself a little bit. And, Monty Kiffin comes in and put me on 13. But like, going through the experience, really shaped me for the future, because like once I got back, I just hit the ground running, and it was just more so. I really pushed myself through some things that I never pushed myself through before. It definitely made me more mentally strong, and another good thing about it was, at the time, Coach Brooks was still working across the street. Even though he just got fired, Coach Brooks was still cutting the grass at the fields.
Wow.
Like, he was cutting the grass at Neyland Stadium and in the baseball stadium as well. And like, when I was kind of feeling down, Coach was just like, look, Dan, you gotta. He said, you have the capability. He said, don't have no regrets. You made the decision to come back. You made a decision. Because I did think about for a little while to enter the draft after my junior year, because I was unsure about how how Coach Kiffin would be when he came. But in the end, I would just say, well, having Coach O have that talk with me, but then also having Coach Brooks across the street still in Stokely, been able to talk to him and kind of guide me a little bit during the camp and the beginning of the season. That really helped, and then that helped me push forward, and end up getting drafted at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Always nice having a mentor that can kind of help steer you and lead you and give you like the options, because there's obviously a lot of different options. You made from moving from Memphis, going back to play football at UT, you made that 180-degree turn. You had to make a decision, and you could have either gone back to UT or you could have gone the other way to the meat market. So
Yeah.
I got to think that maybe you might have possibly made a good decision on that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's take a look at this. So you were a powerhouse at UT. You were first team All SEC, third team All American. You had 162 tackles, 7 sacks. You were recently named as to Tennessee's All Quarter Century team by 24/7 Sports, and you were the number 26 draft in the first round of the draft in 2010. So I think it kind of worked out pretty well for you. Good decision.
I made a team. Oh, okay. Hey, I might need to get that article.
I made the team. Yay. I love that.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
So sticking with this just for one quick second here, and I want to move along because we want to get to the foundation. But I'm a big UT fan. Our family is here in Tennessee, right? And so is there like one specific moment as a UT player that's really sticks out in your mind over everything else?
I would say that actually that Halloween game when we first brought up those black jerseys and with the orange pants, we kind of surprised everybody. Like ours wasn't not as nice as the ones are now, but it was Coach Kiffin came in and actually they did try to put like a last minute order for us to have black pants and the rules at the time they wouldn't let them paint the helmets and stuff. But honestly, we would have painted the helmets. They would kind of gave it away a little bit. But what happened? We tried to get the black pants. But Coach Giffen came and told us like, hey, if you guys lose, he said UT would never wear black again. So we went out there. I think as we got a sack that game, and I had a pretty good game.
Had a pretty good game.
But it was, I just think it was just the atmosphere that night. And then the fact that it was actually on Halloween and just playing in the stadium, in Neyland Stadium, there's just, great memories. And, at the time we actually like, man, hey guys, we got to win. If we don't, it'll be our fault. Everybody can't wear black jerseys.
Can't wear black anymore. Ever again. Yeah. It's really funny because I really honestly thought you were going to say your favorite moment was going to be the pick six.
Oh, man. That was. I will say, emotionally, that is a special time for me, even though we ended up losing that game. It was cool. Actually, that was like the last game my dad got to see me in person. So, that comes to line. But it was cool because the crazy thing about it was, Tyrann Mathieu, who actually just recently retired, I was telling him, I said, man, I'm gonna get a pick six. I'm gonna show y'all what to do with the ball. You're supposed to take it to the house. And he intercepted. And the funny thing was it happened because when, it was a tip ball, I got it. And honestly, I got I had crossed the goal line already, so I scored, but I didn't know how far I was. And then like the tight end would actually rip the ball out, and I had to go get it. Like, oh, I got to score, so I got it back. So that's why I couldn't really do a dance or enjoy it like I wanted to. But that was a good play, and this definitely was a great feeling because that was like honestly that was my first like interception forever. Like, and since I've been playing football, like I've been playing since I was like 6. So
wow.
it was like my dad was there. I got to give him the ball. Like, I think the preseason game before I was like featured on the Cup in Arizona, and like my dad was on like, he was on cloud 9. He was like, hey, my son got an interception, I got a game ball, and my son's on the Cup. Like,
that's cool.
And that was the funniest things because like honestly, I done got a lot of awards in my life. Hell, I even bought my dad like a car or something like that. But his most proud moment of like remember his son playing was my son's on the Cup. Like that was
I love it.
It was just, and he was just that like that was his thing. Like that was him, like that was his like proud dad moment. Like he asked because they gave me the funny thing was there was plenty of cups available. And my dad was handing them things out like it was a voucher for $100 or something. What he was giving people.
That's funny.
For different people are proud of different things, and he was very proud of me, and that was like a highlight for him. So I was happy for him. So that's I'll say that pick six. Yeah, I'll say that for the NFL, that was probably my biggest moment. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, was your dad there for draft day in 2010?
Oh yeah, he was. We woke up. He was excited. Told everybody. He was. The funny thing was like the Raiders actually called me that morning. It was like, hey, watch out. Like, hey, you're a guy. We might possibly take you. Because it was a lot going on. Like, I mean, they was telling me I might end up going to Miami. But we were just enjoying the moment. That was our first time in New York. We went touring different things as a family. Him and my mom got to do some things. So well, it was my first time. He actually been in New York a few times because my dad actually went to MIT for a few years
Oh, okay.
before he got drafted in to the Vietnam War. So it was cool, like being there. I had some other family members come in later on, and but the funny thing was like my dad, when I used to sit up and watch the draft. I was talking to my dad like I'm gonna be in New York, like I'm gonna be in New York, like when I was a little kid, and to see that come to fruition, like it was it was surreal to me, and having people that was close to me there, especially my mom that was right there at the table with me, and because honestly, my dad cried after they called my name,
Uh,
so it was a great feeling.
so I mean that is amazing. I'm sure it was a great feeling for the entire family. Now you lost your father while you were in your playing career. I mean, how did that impact you, both on the field and off the field?
The biggest thing is on the field. I I guess football actually helped me, or helped me suppress it. Kind of helped me get over it a little bit. It was just. It definitely wasn't the same because like when I did have some tough times, I always talk to my dad like, hey man, like this doesn't make no sense, Pop. They're trying to do this because I remember like my first year, I had the Cardinals set me down. I was only 3 pounds over, but they let the tabloids kind of eat me alive. They was like,
Mm,
oh, Dan, it's 380, 360. I'm like, dude, my weight is 325. I was 328 today, and they're telling me I can't play. But long story short, I ended up finding out it was because I had a playing time clause in my contract, so they needed to send me out that game. So I mean that was fine. But talking, my dad helped me through that. But a lot of things where things kind of didn't really make sense to me. He always helped make things make sense, or give me a different perspective where I could kind of look at things. So that's where the biggest thing that happened because I feel like I finished the 2013 year through. Only thing what I say I probably do different in that process. I probably would have played because I know that's something he wanted me to do. Because even my mom even told me to play, but I just at the time I wasn't in a good mental space to play. But I think I would like that. Me knowing what I know now, I'll probably be more mentally prepared for that. And then also too is I mean, part of the reason why I chose the Raiders when I went into the off season for free agency. My dad was a big, huge Raider fan. I kind of did that to try to, get a piece, get closer to him a little bit, or get that piece of that memory, hold on to that a little bit more. But I would say the biggest thing that I've learned now that I didn't really do, as going through counseling, struggling a little bit mentally, is just more so like I never really gave myself a chance to grieve.
yeah.
That's part of the bereavement. That's something that's big that is not really taught, and really
Yeah.
that's what I kind of do with my foundation too is to put that in there as well because it's a lot of people struggle with that. Kind of the biggest thing I feel like a lot of people don't understand how to deal with death, and that's something that needs to be talked about. I mean, of course, I know we don't want to talk about it because it's
Right.
not
Right.
a great feeling, but that's why I'm trying to that when that happened, that's kind of that affected me good and bad. I say.
It's always tough when you lose loved ones, especially your mom or your dad. I've lost
Mhm.
both of mine, so I kind of can I understand where you're coming from on that. It's I think I'm still grieving over the last it's been 3 years now that my father passed away,
Mm.
but I think about him all the time, and he's still in my heart, and like your father's still in your heart, and like you said, he would have wanted you to go forward, and you did. Now you played for the Raiders for what, a year and a half, 2 years, and then you
2 years.
2 years,
Yeah.
and then there was a decision made to part ways. So you
Yeah.
had to shift. You had to make a shift in your life again, another
Mhm.
shift. So what was that like? And I mean, was it a struggle for you, or did you have a clear vision of what you wanted to do next?
Well, I didn't have a clear vision. The struggle was, I had some tryouts. I turned them down. I was like, do I want to play Don't want to keep going. I mean, I was still, one of the best D tackles in the league at the time, and I tried to. I think it was just the more part where I was talking about the grieving part again. I didn't really have the chance to. Um, like I think this was when I was in Oakland, this was kind of everything kind of hit. Like, just me missing him, like not grieving, and I'm not knowing what's wrong with me. Like I'm just, I'm in my room crying. Then when I got cut, I was surprised, and I was like, like who did I piss off? Because like when they cut me, they didn't let me come get my stuff, and I was like,
Wow.
dang, I was that
Brutal.
terrible. So I was really in a real deep depression, and I still am at times. I'm trying, working on it, going through, taking, got some therapists that's helping me through that. It's just more so it's like, what is that, like I was like, hey, I'm like all I really knew was football at the time. It's like,
Hmm.
I had a passion. I've been playing this since I was 6 years old. I'm 29. Like, dude, I've been playing for 23 years. Like, now you telling me you're not good enough. But I could have still played, but my heart wasn't in it. And I think that connection with the Raiders more so. My dad was there too. Um, and and at the same time, it was. I feel like my play, wasn't the reason why I got cut. It was more so I feel like it was the other things, the little things that there were big things that I should have just followed. I could have been a better player, but I just wasn't in the right mindset.
Right.
And and that's one thing my dad always say, like, what heck could you have done in this situation to make it better? And then when I always started evaluating that, I could have been, I could have been a better teammate and just a better overall defensive tackle, do more stuff that the coach wanted me to do. And that's it took me a while to get there.
Yeah.
So going through counsel now kind of helped me realize that. And I mean honestly, after I got cut, it was a super deep depression. My
Yeah.
wife is, I'm getting angry. Like, what's going on? She like, what are you doing? And never to where I want to hurt or anything, but it was some loud yelling and stuff. And luckily she's tough, and she stuck beside me, and she's actually was one of the ones like, hey, she like this is not the man I married. Like you need to go talk to somebody. Like like honestly, and I was like, okay. I'm like, all right, and then the way she said it, I don't know, the way she said it so calm and collected, it was kind of scared me. So I went and found me a therapist, right away.
Yeah.
But then it's the biggest thing is just right for me is finding that new identity.
Mhm.
Like what can I do next? What can I be great at? What can I um what can I exceed in? Be the best in, because it's like that competition. I mean, honestly, and really like when my son was born in 2022, I think that was like a big moment for me a little bit, because like first of all he came out, he looked just like my dad, and so I couldn't, and it was wild. I couldn't even hold him. Like I couldn't even
Oh,
hold my
wow.
son because I was like, and that's why I was like, I'm like, why am I crying every time I hold him? And it's just more so, my therapist times like, you need to hold him, you need to cry, you need to let it out, because she said you never grieved, you never got over your dad's death. So kind of like when I did that, a little bit, long once I finally got that out of my system, just holding my son crying in the middle of the night, it was crazy. But once I got that out, it kind of gave me a little bit more clarity. It was more so, like my daughter who was born, like she's 16 now. Like she saw me when I was at my peak at the time. Like I was, playing football. She got to go to the game. She saw her dad like in this on cloud nine, and I told myself like my son deserves to see a version of me. Sees that version as well, and I think about that, and that's something that he really has, since his birth has kind of helped me, give me new direction, because I feel like I need to be a great, example for him, as well as, for my daughters too. But it's still more like see me in a better place. I can't, just go around, walk around the house all in, gloomy and,
Yeah.
in a depressed state. So he kind of one that gave me the motivation. And the one thing that does, that does give me motivation is it's giving back to kids. You know, I tried to coach
Mhm.
one time, that didn't work out. Just you know, parents these days, you know, the
Oh man.
expectations they have for their kids, and
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'm not. And I was like, I got to the point, I don't talk to parents. Like, whoever mom come down, go meet her at the hill. Like, you can leave practice early. I don't mind.
Yeah.
And then I even tried to substitute teach a little bit, and that didn't work out because I don't know the effort. I feel like one of the teachers I was covering for, it wasn't the best. So it's kind of like you still talking to like in the locker room. So it was like, hey, this like then you can't talk to our staff. I'm like, I mean, hey, look, like, hey, we got to be accountable for our actions, you know. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
but you know, like you know, just trying to fit in and you know figure it out. So I was like, I just got to create my own space to where I can you know still make an impact. You know, get back into this philanthropy work. So last year, you know, I decided to um, you know, start my foundation up. My buddy who's here in Memphis, he's in the foundation, senior here. He has a financial literacy foundation where they help families about mortgages. You know, just kind of get their finances. You know, tell them how to set budgets and everything. So that was cool. And he was like, "Man, you need to bring your program back," because he kind of helped me when I was in Oakland a little bit. And I was like, "Man, no." It was like, "No, it's cool." But then my wife came in again. She's like, "Hey, you've been sitting down too long. You need to do something." So I
You
had
told me that night. That was funny.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. She was like, "You need to do something. Like you need to find something to do, and you know something that you enjoy again." And honestly, it has been you know working with kids and being you know because the funny thing I really don't tell the kids I play football, so they like man like you know some of the kids in Memphis are very direct. They're like, man, you too big to not do nothing. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm here to help you. I mean, I'm not doing anything.
So
So.
they know before you
Uh,
even tell them. You don't even have to tell them. They kind of know
Oh yeah,
already.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
funny. That's
yeah,
great.
no, it was funny.
Yeah.
But this has been a little tough, you know. Like now being in the foundation scene, like 100% just because I went back, ended up going back to school. I got my MBA to in finance to you know try to give myself more you know credit. Like, hey, when you make a donation, hey, I am about a book. You know, I end up getting QuickBooks. I'm figuring that out now. You know, because I mean, you know, having foundations pretty much run like a business, but
Sure.
it's like you have to separate yourself to where, or not even separate yourself. It's more so you know, you have to show people that you are a legitimate foundation because you know, some people are doing things in this space where you know they got some ways that they're not really doing what they say they're
Not on
doing.
the up and up.
So
Yeah.
yeah, on the up and I do and I had to realize that. What you mean? Like when I was in Oakland, every dollar we spent, we went towards the program. Like I don't know, it's like but now like you know being in this space. But then too is like me being a football player trying to say I want to help kids reading. They look at me like now that like what you mean? Why you trying to help? I'm like, well, I can read, so I can motivate kids. You know, like you know, part of being on the team is you know motivation. You know, getting your teammates to go. So that's the mentor part, and but so mentoring and health and wellness, I was accepted right away. But they was like, well, you didn't go to school to be a teacher, or you didn't go to school to be an Englishman. I'm like, look, I mean, you still have to motivate a kid to read. It's not about you know going to school. It's like what gets his interest to do it, and you know we
Yeah.
have the tools and the resources to help these kids read. So all last year I was trying to you know get in where I fit in to try to find a place to help kids and it was I actually was told no a few times, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
that
Well.
was kind of you know it was kind of you know eye opening for me. But
Yeah.
you know we did end up doing my first camp last year for health and wellness, so that turned out to be you know turned out well for us. And then this year we did another camp, but this is like you know having more things in place this year, and I think you know what I told you know the people working with me like, hey, we're going to do a place where our camp is going to be, you know, we're going to run it so well to where, hey, you know, after the camp is over, we're going to approach the people that we work for, like, hey, can we come in the fall and implement our leadership program to help your, you know, kids who are, you know, unmotivated readers or even kids who are
Yeah.
struggling. You know, like I
Yeah.
believe we can have a chance to, you know, help them and, turn things around for them. And you know, right now it's looking that is definitely coming to fruition. Will probably be in 2 schools this fall.
Oh, that's awesome. So your program basically, if I understand right, I was looking at the website. and the website is playbookforsuccess.org.
Yes,
And
sir.
you have three different programs I was looking at. One was Books for Brighter Futures, River City Reading Rush, and Fourth and One. Can you maybe just give us a quick overview of what those are all about?
Well, the fourth one is our health and wellness program. This what we did the summer program just now. Or if if you want, um, we're kind of like a mixture of like gym, because we back in the day we used to have, you had the wellness class for one semester, and you actually got to do gym. So we kind of mix up both. But then also too is just like we do the 8 pillars of wellness. We tell the kids, because that's one of the like we were talking about bereavement, which is emotional wellness, financial wellness, occupational wellness, of course physical wellness. So we go over everything and take a deeper dive. Really ask kid, like, how do you feel about this? What are your thoughts? Because now, when you go occupational wellness, like it's more than what you want to be and just leave it at, but it's okay, what you want to be. We kind of get a consensus of what the class will say. Or like I said, they tell you about the entertainers or athletes. So, I brought in but I also try to bring in people who have different occupations and that the kids might never have thought of. Let them know, these jobs are out there. Like
Yeah,
a good paying job is being an insurance adjuster. A lot of people don't know that. So,
yeah,
all you gotta do is go look at the house, make the claim, help make the claims for these insurance companies, and you can make a good living that way. And now you
sure.
do have to do a little traveling, but it's very, it's not like hard manual labor, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But then, they talked to, presidents of banks, a CPA
Nice.
came. I brought in a financial advisor to come talk to them. It's like, this is where, we want to expose kids to different things that they might not be exposed, and kind of expand, their minds a little bit on occupations that they might want to, explore or look more into as they get older. Because, we work with middle school and high school kids. So,
Right.
we're trying to like really, help them out. So,
Yeah, and you
um,
said, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you said at the
no
beginning
problem.
of our time together, you were talking about some of the kids that you talked to. They're pretty much set that they're going to be like the next NFL player. They're going to be the next NBA player. So their mindset is really, they're kind of got a little bit of a blinders on. I think that's all kids. I,
Yeah,
I wanted to be a fireman. I mean, that's how like
yeah,
low the bar was set. Well, they're good people. I'm sorry. It
yeah,
almost came out really wrong. I didn't mean it to come out that way, but
no,
I
I
never
see
even,
what you meant. Yeah,
yeah, I was
yeah.
slow and I was small and I was never ever going to be an NFL player or an NBA player. So I
Hmm.
never really set my sights that high. But, so fireman was the next best thing I thought for me personally. But kids think that, there's just one way, one track of, having success, and that would be a professional athlete or an entertainer, like you said. But
Hmm.
there's so much out there that they're not exposed to. And what you're doing, if I understand, and I just want to clarify, is you're
Hmm.
really helping to expose them to those different opportunities that are out there. Whether they take them or not, they know they're there.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah. So, and also too, yeah. So just give them different uh, experience in each pillar, and just kind of do a more in depth takeover so they can understand it, a little bit more.
Right.
So yeah, that's exactly what we try to do. So
All
that's
right.
the fourth and one. The River City Reading Rush, that is our literacy program where we want to come in. We want to come in and help the kids with. That's my big thing is like, to be successful, I believe you have to read and comprehend. You have to understand. If you want to be the entertainer or athlete, you have to be able to understand your contract, and that's what I really want to. I try to hone in on with the kids is like, like no matter what you want to do, you go to the army, you become a master plumber, you become an HVAC guy, you become a business owner. It's gonna be contracts, and you have to understand the terms, no matter what. So that's why reading is important. It's not just so you can do this test, or I don't want to, you're not cool. It's the fact that in order for you to succeed, that you have to read and comprehend. And we work with kids to where, like, with the system here in Memphis, they use Lexile scores and I ready, and we just we try to improve the kids. If they keep us up for like a whole year, um, we believe that we can at least get a kid up. So if they're on like a third grade rating level, we're gonna try and get them in, at least one reading level, full reading level, or try to do our best to get them on grade level reading.
Well, that's fantastic. And then you've got the books for brighter futures. That's all part of the same thing, then.
Yeah. It's more so of that's our at home library initiative where we want
Okay.
to give kids that we work with ordering books. We have a partnership with Scholastic to where we will buy books. Get the kid, buy books of kids' interests. If you like comic books, let's find some comic books and kind of push you, to push your reading level to where now we can buy. Kids 6th grade, he loves Ninja Turtles, and he on 3rd grade reading level. Hey, let's buy some Ninja Turtle books to where they're at the 3rd grade, get them into it, and then get them to the 4th to push yourself to the 5th, to where hopefully we can get them to that 6th grade reading level, to where they can build their library at home, to where instead of them just gotta wait or whatever, they can always read their book as many times as they want, and it's theirs.
Well, fantastic. That's awesome. So, Lincoln, we're getting really close to the end of our time together. Unfortunately, this
Okay.
has been a great time. I love what you are doing. I love your background and everything. But before we get to the end, we got a couple things I want to kind of touch base with you on. So, after all of the NFL, the college football, the foundation, all of that stuff is done, what would you like your legacy to be when you're off the field?
I mean, my thing is, I just want to be a person that can be remembered, that left a lasting impact. From the people that I touch, the people that come in contact with me. I want to be definitely remember as an upright guy. Honorable person. Just humble. Because this has always been my personality. It's like the thing that I kind of hang my hat on now is like no matter what or how successful I've been, even my friends who've been with me, like, man, Big Dan, like, you haven't changed. Like, dude, you're really the same dude. Like, they was like,
That's
man, I
awesome.
would have changed so quick. And I believe, to me, that's the biggest compliment because, I never, changed my integrity, and I'm always been, who I always wanted to be. And, that's me.
I love it. You're a cool dude, man. I like that.
Yeah.
So if somebody who's listening today who wants to help you with your mission or everything, what's the best way to get started?
The best way to get started is just to go to www.theplaybook.org. If they want to donate, they can. My phone number is also on the website to where they can, talk to me if there's something they want to do. Because, my biggest thing too is not just, I would love donations. That's what I had to learn as a president now, to ask for money. But the biggest thing is also, like, I ask people for time. Like, can you please, come, speak to my kids, because I believe, like, when you talk to these kids and expose them, because I believe everyone has a story. It's not just because everyone's successful in their own way, and also they can reach out to me at dan@theplaybook.org. That's my email. And they send me an email to talk about how they want to help. I'll be more than happy to do it.
All right, fantastic. Well, we got one more thing we want to do before we close out today.
Mhm.
We like to play a little lightning round with you and just ask you a
All
couple
right.
questions and give us a really quick, short answer. Real simple. There's no right or wrong answer to this, but then this is for fun. Okay, Dan? Are you
All right.
ready? Ready for
Yes.
lightning round? Okay, here we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
First question. What was your favorite pregame meal?
Oh, steak and what do we have? Pretty much steak and eggs. Because usually that's what I just did. I did double protein.
Double protein, steak and eggs. I love that.
Yeah.
The toughest player you ever lined up against?
Man, they'll have to be. I'll say Mike Iapati. I think he used to play for Seattle.
Hmm.
He was from Idaho. I might be saying his last name wrong, but he was a good guard. Mhm.
Oh, fantastic. One book that you think every kid should read.
Oh man, my favorite is Green Eggs and Ham. I'm a Dr. Seuss fan, so I believe our kids
Green
read
eggs and
Dr.
ham.
Seuss.
Who doesn't
Yeah,
like a little green eggs and ham, right? I
yeah,
love that.
oh
That's
yeah.
great. Okay, and the last question, I need you to fill in the blank. My daughter teaches me blank.
Patience.
Patience. Well, outstanding. You are a patient man, a humble man, and everything you
Mhm.
said before. I love that. You're an awesome guy. I really, really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for giving your time to us today.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
Absolutely. Hey, from gridiron to classroom, Dan Williams is writing a new kind of playbook built on hope, heart, and hard work. Hey, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep breaking through, and God bless. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.